had nothing to say. You chose to walk, give what we had away. I hope you get what you're looking for, but babe, with me, you close the door on everything we could have been. Don't go thinking we could be friends. No, you can't bring us back from the dead. 'Cause when you know, you know, and when you don't, when it ends, it ends.
Hey guys, I'm on vacay, so I'm gonna give y'all a hotel room tour. I was in this same exact room last year. Let's adjust that brightness for y'all. I actually don't know how to do that when it's recording, so excuse that. Here's our kitchen area. This is at Sea Ponds in St. Simons Island, Georgia. Right there for you. That's my fan. We have all this. They only treat me so well here. That is amazing. And even some sodas. So here's the little living room area. I love the furniture and it smells so good here. Here's the view. I'm sure my squirrel friends are going to make some appearances. It's low tide right now. I haven't actually gone out yet. Beautiful, beautiful area here. We have the bedroom where we have a second balcony that is screened in, where I will be reading. I'm going to be reading on both balconies, but at nighttime prefer this one because the mosquitoes can't get in. So then we have the bedroom. Here I am, cute, where all my stuff is. Bathroom, I just filmed an outfit video, that's why the tripod is in here, but there I am, cute. Then we have the beautiful bathtub, shower as well. It's so amazing here. I am so thankful for this place and the people who work here and just make all of this possible. I'm treating myself for my Venus return. When I get back from dinner, I will go through the weekly TBR. We're gonna be immersive reading beach read on vacation at the beach. Isn't that awesome? Oh, I wait every year for this. That was literally one of the best meals of my life that I just had. Southern Soul Barbecue. I'm going back for lunch tomorrow to try different things. Tonight I just had the wings and fries, which I know, very basic meal, but the seasoning, I've ordered the seasoning and have it at home as well, and I've gotten my friends to order it. Just so good. I know a lot of like the PGA guys go there. It is just, if you are in South Georgia, if you are in the Golden Isles, go there. It's so good. I have some sweet tea right here. Love it. I should have recorded when I was there, but again, I'm going tomorrow. So let's go over the weekly TBR. I am cold, but weekly TBR. First, we have Bret Easton Ellis and the Other Dogs by Lena Wolf. I should be finishing this one tomorrow. Didn't get to it today because I did leave bright and early. I left afternoon. I should finish that tomorrow, so I'll go into my thoughts on that tomorrow. Now, the book that we're going to be immersive reading, I'm a quarter of the way into it, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I am annotating it, so I am going to read the description for you guys since this is our main focus this week. Augustus Everett is an acclaimed author of literary fiction. January Andrews writes best-selling romance. When she pens a happily ever after, he kills off his entire cast. They're polar opposites. In fact, the only thing they have in common is that for the next 3 months, they're living in neighboring beach houses, broken and bogged down with writer's block. Then one hazy evening, one thing leads to another, they strike a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Augustus will spend the summer writing something happy, and January will pen the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of any rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interview surviving members of a backwoods death cult, obviously. Everyone will finish a book, and no one will fall in love. Really. So that is what I'm currently reading, and I'm going to begin into in like the next 10 minutes. I am following along with the audiobook. We get to read outside, which is going to be super nice. Then we have my mood read, which I should hit the halfway point tonight, so I'm going to have a big update for y'all. That is Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. This is dealing with the Illuminati. This scientist who formerly was a priest, he was found murdered with Illuminati branded across his chest. Everybody, the Catholic Church, they thought the Illuminati were extinct, that they weren't around anymore, that they went out in like the 1950s, but it turns out that might not be the case. So we have our character of Robert, who he's called in to investigate because what he does for a living is he's a professor of religious symbology at Harvard University. So they call him in because of the branding on the chest, and they have a ticking time bomb and they have to save the Vatican. Next, it is on my Kindle, so I didn't want to bring so many books because my suitcase, I need to have room in it. I am reading The Goal by L. Kennedy. This one is kind of like, I would say he falls first, but they have a one-night stand, Tucker and Sabrina. It's a hockey sports romance. Sabrina is like, very much does not want to fall in love. I think she has abandonment issues and she just has a lot on her plate at the moment. But this guy might be different. He might be different. So those are the books that I am currently reading and will be focusing on in the vlog. So it is 5:50. I'm gonna go outside and read in 10 minutes to read Beach Read. I was only able to read 15% in Beach Read, which I think was 54 pages read. Let me see here. Yes, I read 54 pages. I didn't get to read in the 3 o'clock hour today since I was in the car, and I am sadly not one of those people who can read in the car. I'm sorry, I'm hearing people, and I'm like, who's talking? But they're all about to hear my thoughts or lack thereof on Beach Read. No, I have 2 notes to talk about. Let's go to them. This book isn't doing a whole lot for me. I'm not feeling anything towards it, not feeling anything towards the characters. I don't have an emotional connection. I have 2 notes, as I said. First one is that this book is extremely slow burn in the romance department. We don't really have them touch each other till page 108. But it seems like there might be some kind of history between the 2 characters, but very slow burn, but that isn't bothering me. It's not. But we have them going on these little field trips. She takes him to a carnival, and with that, it was just so creative because they're like doing, bouncing ideas off each other. Like they'll see somebody and they'll be like, okay, what would you make their story be in your book? And it's just like, oh my gosh, how are they coming up with this stuff? Like, it's so crazy. They're so creative. And I am really liking that, just seeing how their ideas bounce off of each other. That's been my favorite thing so far in the book. But again, I don't have a strong emotional connection to this book. So I would say like a 3-star right now. But we will just have to see how that goes. I will be reading this the rest of the vlog, obviously. I will be getting some outside time with it tomorrow as well, but I'm going to go down to the Pier Village. It's like right on the ocean, and hang out down there for a little bit. I didn't think I was going to be going out for the rest of the night, so I didn't get to read another chapter. And what just fell, that literally looks like a dropping, what just fell out the sky? Did a squirrel go to the bathroom? I don't know what just happened. It got dark on the camera. What is happening? But I'm gonna go cool off, charge my phone before I head out. This lighting, I know, but I got to 55% in Angels and Demons. In the plot, what is currently happening is that they are going to like all these old Illuminati, like the Illuminati have this old trail through Rome, and they are going to all these different locations because they are hoping to find the guy who is behind the killing and all this other crazy stuff that is going on. I have a lot of notes. Bear with me, and it's kind of hard to see out here, but we start out with CERN. And if you are somebody who's into, I want to say conspiracies, but not like government conspiracies, but like conspiracies of the Mandela effect, that kind of thing, CERN is usually the root of that. And I know they recently like turned off their collider thing. A lot of this CERN stuff has gone over my head. I will admit that all this high-tech science stuff, but this is very elite of the science and church. Two crazy words to put together, but of Catholicism, we are seeing a conclave happening. And then with CERN, with antimatter and matter, that kind of stuff, a lot of that is over my head. A quote on page 25, all questions were once spiritual and true. We love that. And this is a line that perfectly describes the book on page 30. A world where history, myth, and fact collide. We have all of that going on in this book. And every book, from like these like old men books, like I'm thinking like Ken Follett, I was gonna say Gore Vidal, but no, but like Sophia Loren will always be mentioned. So I'm like, is she like the most beautiful woman in the world? I don't know, but she's always mentioned. You can always count on it. We're introduced to the character of Victoria. She is the daughter of the scientist who was murdered, and I'm like, she's gonna be the love interest, she's gonna play hard to get, but no, she's not playing hard to get. She's the one who I think is more interested in Robert, but it's not really, there's no big emphasis on that kind of thing. So that this is that antimatter can be, or that matter can be created from nothing, and therefore that's how our universe came into being. And antimatter can be used as a weapon of mass destruction. And then we have all this stuff about the New World Order, and I'm like, is America low-key the New World Order? I don't know. But this book is very slow building. We're just at the 55% mark. Very slow building, but short chapters. So that makes it really like you're never bogged down. You're always just going to the next thing, the next scene. It's not fast-paced, so I would say it's a medium-paced book, but the story is slowly building. But Olivetti, he is like the head, I don't know if he's the head of the Swiss Guard, but he is like the head of security, and oh my gosh, he's annoying me so much, but I get it, we have to have that kind of character, or else everything would be working out for Robert and Victoria as they are trying to find out what is going on here, find out what the Illuminati is doing. But he's driving me crazy, where I was kind of suspicious of him that this could be an inside job, but I really don't think so anymore. But the big theme here that I'm picking up on is how science and religion intertwine. I'm somebody who personally does believe that. I think that there is a great creator. Obviously, I do believe that. And that all of the stuff that the creator did can be explained by science. Like, there's this, how things happen. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, if, like in the Bible, how they say God said, let there be light. Okay, how did he make light happen? Obviously, he spoke it into existence, but there was a science behind that. And that's, yeah, I don't really know how to explain that. I have a belief in here, but getting it into words is difficult. But this is going like 3.25s. It's interesting. I am loving learning about the Illuminati, and because there's a lot of Renaissance stuff in here, and I'm somebody who the Renaissance is probably my favorite time period in history. That's very hard to say because there's so many time periods in history, but I do love the Renaissance, and it was like my first love in history. So there's a lot of that. I'm learning a lot about the Catholic Church with the popes and the cardinals and all of these different people that I didn't know about. And the Swiss Guard's been really interesting as well, of everything they do and how they get to be in the Swiss Guard. That was super interesting. And then obviously with CERN, because I've always heard about CERN, so just really learning about that and the inner workings and how their like campus, I thought, well, that was really interesting, great atmosphere. But those are my thoughts so far on Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. my lovely tree is in the way. So hopefully it goes by right through here.
They're all like omega-6 and avocado oil and olive oil that goes mono and fat.
I hope this is an okay spot to film, but it is Tuesday and I meant to show y'all the haul of books that I got today. I went to both indie bookstores that are here, Write-In Books and GJ Ford Books, but sadly I filmed my haul for TikTok and then took the books back to the car, forgetting that I had to film it for YouTube as well. After I went to the bookstores, I went to a lot of little free libraries. I don't know how many I went to, some new, some that I've been to before, but they were basically like sacked out. There was nothing. Like it was a lot of mass market books that I'm just not in the market for at the moment. I know I'm not smart, I'm not in the market. I think last weekend being the 4th of July, probably the little libraries got wiped out and I am unlucky coming here the week after, able to get my hands on any books, but I did drop off more. Some I dropped 2 off, some I dropped 1 off. It just depended what the stock was looking like in that certain library. I did not pick any up, but I did buy myself 3 books today. That was very nice. Love going to bookstores. But I did read 82 pages in Beach Read. I don't know what percent I'm at. I haven't put it into the phone yet. But I didn't update y'all, or I left out a tab yesterday, and it was what this book is about, what the plot is. Well, right now we have the characters. They're realizing the baggage that each of them has and how that has made them into the person that they are. I said baggage, but like the trauma that they have. But the tab that I forgot to tell y'all about yesterday is that this is really exploring the title Beach Read. Beach Read is a romance book and proving that beach reads and romance books can still be masterpieces of literature. They can still be great literature, because a lot of people just scoff at it, being like, oh, this only has a happy ending, that's not real life. But that can be kind of the point. We have people who maybe don't have a lot of control in their life or want a different outcome of their life. They're like, man, I wish that my life could wrap up with a bow and have a happy ending. They read a romance book where they can get that. When I said they won't control, romance books have a formula to them. The couple always ends up together in the end, and that's, you know what's going to happen, because in real life, life is unexpected, awful things happen, but you know when you pick up one of these books, these people are going to fall in love. Love is a beautiful, amazing thing. And isn't that fantastic that people get to have that escapism in a book? That is, in my opinion, what this book is trying to prove. But let's look at the tabs that I did today. The first one, she says, I hadn't felt like this in years. That almost painful weight of wanting, that paralyzing fear that any wrong move would ruin everything. I don't feel it. I don't feel this connection between these two people. The author's telling me it's there, but I'm not feeling it. They have this moment. They have one of their field trips that we talked about. She does not end up hearing from him for a few days, but she never texts him to be like, hey, what's up? He's not been at his house. If somebody's not even at their house, I'm like, okay, it's probably not me, probably something, a family matter or whatever came up. But she is just having like, well, one brief makeout session with me had apparently been enough to make him relocate to Antarctica without so much saying as a see ya. She has his number. Why can't she text him? Like, because she's so scared. And I get having that dating anxiety. We've all been there. When you have a crush on somebody and you're just like, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? Am I doing it right? Like, that's natural. But the way this chapter, I'm like, you are a grown woman. I'm assuming she's around my age because they're a few years out of college. She just sounds so angry about it when there's this fact that she could just text him and be like, hey, what's up? Are you okay? I noticed you're not home, because they're neighbors. It's not like it's creepy being like, I noticed you're not at your house. I drove by in the middle of the night. No. Why can't she just text him? I don't know. Something I noticed, because I'm reading 2 romance books at the moment. I'm reading The Goal by Elle Kennedy, and then I'm reading Beach Read by Emily Henry. And it's always these people finding romance when they least expect it, which sure, that does happen in the real world. But why is it so rare in romance books for the person to be actively pursuing romance? Because a lot of people, I'm going to say the majority of the people I know, are out there actively being like, I want to have a partner. And they're on the apps, they're going to bars, whatever. Why does that never happen in romance books? It's always like, oh, it's a chance encounter and we magically fell in love. That's how it is in romance books. Why is it so rare for people to actively be looking for love? Then on page 209, this is going into the character work again. These characters, I told y'all, they have a lot of baggage. They have a lot of trauma. They have everything to be developed. But why do I not feel an emotional connection towards them? I don't have an emotional connection towards this book whatsoever. It has so much potential here, but it's not coming off the page and gripping me and having me in the feels. Why? I don't know. My guess is maybe it's just like the author had this idea and was really focused on the idea rather than the characters. But again, I don't know. And then I have 2 notes here. This one's, and this is on page 220. Does that make sense? She asked. I needed to be okay, and I could do the wrong thing if it had the right end. And I think a lot of people have that mantra in life, especially in the times that we're living in where there's inflation and things are so expensive. People are desperate. And people will, like, because this is with the cult plotline of how they're researching a cult, and this mother joined a cult because she's like, okay, if this is bad, I have to get through this so my son and I can live the life that we're meant to live. And I think a lot of people go into crime or whatever else with that mindset, and that's why you just have to be mindful and not too judgmental towards people. And then this next quote is how I think it describes this book perfectly and why people read romance. I thought about the romance novels I devoured when the cancer came back and I lost my shot at grad school and thought my life was falling apart again. The nights spent writing until the sun came up and my back hurt from needing to pee but not wanting to stop working because nothing felt more important than the book, than giving these fictional lovers the ending they deserved, giving my readers the ending they deserved. Those are my notes from Beach Read by Emily Henry for the day. My day of reading it on vacation. 82 pages wrapped. That's a lot. That's probably the most I've read in one book in a while. It's Wednesday, I am home. If you hear like a honking noise in the background, it's Delilah's new toy. I don't know why it makes that noise because it's like a golf cart. That's what it's like shaped like, but it sounds like a pig. Don't know what's up with that. But I do want to show y'all what I got on my trip. So we'll start with Ryan Books since I went there first. I've been to both these places before. They're both awesome. Awesome staff at both. Highly recommend. This is Ryan Books. They're in the Redfern Village at St. Simon's, Georgia. Let's see which one. So first, I've been wanting this book a while, but I haven't been able to find it at Barnes & Noble, which is where I shop in my town because it's literally like a mile from my house. But this is The Hill by Harriet Clark. Love these colors. After her mother is sentenced to life in a hilltop prison, Susanna vows to visit her on the hill forever, an unexpectedly funny and deeply moving novel about the many ways we punish and return to each other. Then I got 2 horror books. My dad only thinks I say horror when I say horror. This is Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer. I had major FOMO with this book. So many influencers that I follow were reading it, and I want to read it. A traditional wife influencer allows a demonic creature to impregnate her in this unnerving horror novel, perfect for fans of Night Bitch and Mary from the author serial killer support group. Every hashtag Tradwife needs a baby. She'll get one at any cost. That's creepy, scary. Then I got The Lamb, another one that I've had FOMO for. This is by Lucy Rose, who I think is a book talker. I remember people were really excited about this book, so she might be a part of the online reading community, and stuffings are starting to come out of the toys. But since I did get this at an indie bookstore, it is signed. It says indie exclusive edition signed, which is awesome. You shop in indie bookstores, you can get that. And then their bookmarks are really like high quality. It's laminated. Really cool design there. This is a folktale, a horror story, a love story, an enchantment. I think it has to do with cannibalism. It might be a motherhood story as well, which if you can't tell, I seem to enjoy. Now we have G.J. Ford Bookshop. This is at, I think, the shopping center at Sea Island or something, but it's at St. Simon's, Georgia. Nothing reads like a real book. Truth. The first one I got, so I got 2 local books because I want to support local authors, the places I go, and want something to remind me of that trip, even though this is my 3rd time at St. Simon's. This one I had actually heard about. I don't remember if it was on their Instagram or if it was a store that I follow that's up in Woodstock, Georgia. It was one of those, but this is The Fabled Earth by Kimberly Brock, who is from, okay, she lives near Atlanta, and I actually do own a book by her. This one is Sometimes the Truth is Found in a Folktale. We have 2 timelines, one in 1932 and one in 1959, and it said Southern mythology and personal reckoning collide in this sweeping story inspired by the little-known history of Cumberland Island when a once-in-a-century storm threatens the natural landscape. And here's what their bookmark looks like over at G.J. Ford. And then I did get another local book. I did get a book in my book outlet order. If you saw that video, by this time, I'm pretty sure it's the same author, but this is A Spell for Saints and Sinners by Emily Carpenter. In this eerie novel of Southern Gothic psychological suspense that amid the lush and moss-draped beauty of Savannah, a young psychic, which people think I'm a psychic, on the verge of losing everything, is drawn into a friendship that grows dangerously obsessive. So when I saw psychic, Spanish moss, which is, I love it, and I really want to go to Savannah. I had to grab that. Then this is one that they had a book of the month. I didn't get it because I wanted to wait for reviews. I saw a review on Saturday or Sunday, but over the weekend, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get a book of the month now. They were sold out at book of the month, but then I found this special edition at GJ Ford. I had to pick it up. This cover is kind of X-rated, if you will, but this is Lovers XXX. Lovers XXX is a cool-eyed recreation of the world of 80s adult filmmaking and a hypnotizing novel of friendship, self-invention, and sexual identity beyond binaries. Above all, it is a singular love story between 2 vulnerable, defiant women. This Margot's got money trouble, so that still has like the sex work element, but with the 80s, I think this just sounds so intriguing to see where it goes. And the reviews I saw were great. Those are the books that I picked up. Oh, one more thing. I got this postcard there as well, because again, I love the Spanish moss, and then a portion of the proceeds goes to the Alzheimer's Association in loving memory of the artist's mother, Mary. So this is by Lottie Dottie Art, if you guys would like to check her out, because there were so many beautiful ones. But I love oak tree. This is like my favorite kind of tree, so I had to pick that up. I don't know if I'm gonna frame it, or I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this yet, but I did want to pick one up. Y'all, I did not turn off the camera earlier. It was just sitting here on for 2 hours. But I read 72 pages in Beach Read, so it does look like I will be finishing this book tomorrow. It looks like I'm going to be finishing 2 books tomorrow, kind of going off with that. Let's go over the notes. They're not really like extremely new thoughts that I had today, really just adding on to thoughts that I have had previously about the book. I had 3 notes today. We get our first spicy scene. I think the execution of it is really interesting because we started in one chapter and I was like, oh, is it going to be fade to black? Because I really wasn't expecting that, but no, it continues into the next chapter. It's like 2 pages or like a page and a half of one chapter, then goes into the next chapter. I think that's kind of odd formatting, but I mean, that's not something that I'm gonna dock a star off or something like that. Tab was, oh, just had to wait a little bit. And my last tab is about the character work with January. She's so irritable and overreacts to things. I get being anxious. I get that. But it's just so obvious that he, like, why would he be doing all this stuff if he wasn't into you? She reads so angry and overreacts to every little thing. Girl, go get medicated, go to therapy, go see the psychiatrist, you'll be okay. She really does. And I don't get why she's broke, because she's selling all this stuff on Craigslist, doing all this. Maybe it's just like, I'm the struggling writer. I don't get how she's broke. It's like she's broke, but it doesn't say what she's spending her money on. I don't know, but there was potential with her, but she's starting to get a little bit annoying. I have several updates. I have books everywhere, y'all. I finished Bret Easton Ellis and the Other Dogs. I'm gonna give this a 2.75. I typically don't do decimal ratings, but I felt like doing it today. I love how the character of Alba was explored. She's not like, it's one of these where I like movies where we air about the Michael Jordan Nike deal. We never really see Michael Jordan in the movie, but it's about him, if you want to say that. That's how the character of Alba is explored in this book. This gave all the Euro summer vibe, so if you are maybe traveling in Southern Europe this summer, this would be a good book to pick up. But the writing style was lengthy, run-on sentences. That just is not my personal preference, and the plot didn't come exactly as described on the back of this book, so it didn't do a whole lot for me. So I wouldn't really recommend it, but if this sounds intriguing to you, give it a go. The writing style just really wasn't for me, and it's not that memorable. The next anthology that I'm going to start, this has all different kinds of pieces in here, but this is New Poets of Native Nations, edited by Hyde E. Erdich, I think is how you say that, a landmark anthology celebrating 21 Native poets first published in the 21st century. We're going to explore new poets, and we have some great representation from Indigenous peoples. I did open my Book of the Month package today, so I want to show you all the books that I got. The first one is an anticipated release for me, and that is The Great Wherever by Shannon Sanders. This is a historical fiction, an expansive family saga told with a wry and distinctly modern voice. The Great Wherever is at once grand and intimate. It explores the ways we define ourselves through and against our families, how we carry on after loss, and how the past lives on in all of us. I love those themes, so I had to pick that up because it was already on my radar and they had it at Book of the Month. This is one that Brady on TikTok, y'all know I love her reviews, really enjoyed, and I thought this was a local author. I thought she was from Charleston, but I guess not. Maybe one of her books just took place here. But that's Annabelle Monaghan, Dolly All the Time. It sounds like this is fake dating. I am very picky with fake dating. We will have to see where it goes. If they start by pretending, can they end with something real? Hopefully. We want romance for these people, we want love for these people, but these are the books that I picked up at Book of the Month this month, and it was low-key free because it was my birthday month and I had a credit. 2 hardbacks. You love that for me. I just finished Beach Read by Emily Henry. Let's talk about it. I'm giving it a straight up 3 stars, so it's a good book, but it's not the best book I've ever read. The characters had so much potential, and that's ultimately what I get from this book, is that there is so much potential. Now, I do know Emily Henry can write a 5-star, so it makes sense that this book came out before the 5-star book, because there's potential, there's building stones here. But with the characters, they have trauma, they have baggage, aka they have layers, they have depth to them, but I never felt that emotional connection to them. And as the book progressed, I really got frustrated with our female main character, that is January Andrews, because she was so in her head. And yes, anxieties do come when you date and when you're getting into romance, but there wasn't a lot of evidence for it. And now I know that anxiety is an irrational thing. Like, yeah, I'm diagnosed, I know. But reading it, I'm like, I'm not seeing this here. Why are we getting this? It just got frustrating to read that. She read very angry, she was irritable, and very, she overreacted to things, which, sure, she's been through a lot, but reading that, it's frustrating to read and doesn't make an enjoyable reading experience. And with the romance, this is a romance book, so it's important to feel the chemistry between the characters. I never felt chemistry between them. It was just like, yep, this is happening. I don't feel anything. With the atmosphere, you're going to think this is going to be all about the beach. No, it's not. I don't think the title, it loosely is, falls back on the atmosphere, but it's not the big highlight here. I did like the parts where we were at Pete's house. Pete is she owns a bookstore in the town, and they have a book club at her house. And it's just so like whimsy. It reminds me of the house in Practical Magic. I picture like a strawberry garden, just whimsy, cozy, grandma core, rainy. I loved it. I did love her house. For the writing, this is a slow burn. It is a slow building romance, and the chapters are long, but I never felt bogged down. I was able to read through this quite quickly. The first day I read it, I read a quarter of the book in one day, so it is one that you can get through quite quickly, and I did read it on vacation. I think it's a good one for you to bring on vacation this summer if you are looking for indeed a beach read. It'll be great for that. And even though it is, like, as I was saying, just you can get through it quick, there are some very beautiful, thought-provoking, reflective passages that make you think of love and what is it that we're after in life. There was some beauty there about how you can go through all this bad stuff, but there's still good stuff there as well. I love that this book centers on 2 creative people. They are both writers. I loved the scenes of them bouncing their ideas off each other, and I love just following their creative process. I thought that was really fun to read because I'm a creative person, so I always like to hear about other people's creative processes to compare it to my own, or maybe get some ideas for my own personal creative journey. But let's talk about the themes. I think the title really reflects the themes of the book. We have beach reads, and then this is a romance, and a lot of people look down on the beach read or on romance as a genre, but no, it makes so much sense why that genre of romance is so popular, because we live in a crazy world and people are wanting to see where something does wrap up nicely, where there is a happy ending, because we go through a lot of stuff in life and it's like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to be happy again? Reading a book where people do get a happy ending can be happy for you. There's so much uncertainty in life. We talked about that with the wedding people last week, that everything in life is temporary. You never know when things are going to change. But with the romance book, you know there's a formula. You know it's going to be a happy ending. You know that the 2 people are going to end up together. So in this crazy world we live in, reading a romance book, you feel like you have some form of control, because you know that things are going to be okay. They're going to end up together and live happily ever after. There's also a theme in this book of making the best of what you have, making the best of a bad situation, and learning to dance in the rain. As for intrigue, I didn't feel that much because I didn't have that connection to the character, so I wasn't really caring what was happening, and I was just going along with the notions of the book and with the logic. I told you, it's not there. It's not, especially with the character of January. A lot of her just story arc and thought process didn't make sense to me. But overall, this was a good book. Like, there was potential here. And it wasn't a bad reading experience for me. This is one that I would recommend with a maybe. If you've been wanting to read it, sure, give it a go, but maybe from your library or not with a physical copy. I have read over 100 pages every day this week, and if I keep doing that for the rest of the week, might treat myself to a little gift. I don't know, because I did spend quite a lot of money on books this week. I got 6 books at the indie bookstores and then 2 book of the month books, even though those were free. But I did spend some money on books this week, but I had fun. I loved it. I loved getting to do it. I can spend my money how I want to spend my money. But what am I going to be doing in next week's vlog? I don't know what our theme is exactly going to be, but the book I'm going to be reading is Nobody's Girl, Memoir of Surviving Abuse and Fighting for Justice by Virginia Roberts Giuffre. This is about the Epstein situation. She was one of the victims of Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Prince Andrew. So I will be reading this one next week for my nonfiction pick of the month. I'm sure it's going to be extremely moving and just timely with everything that is going on in our world. But if you made it through this whole video, leave a birthday emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.